Hello students, I'm excited to have you back on our virtual biology lesson brought to you by IOTA Virtual Learning. We started this series on properties and functions of living cells, and in our last lesson we looked at growth in living cells. We will continue this series by looking at how growth is being regulated in plants, and we will look into various plant hormones that regulate growth and development. Then later we will look at growth curvatures, that is the plant growth in response to various stimulus. Lastly, we will look at how auxin regulates phototropism and geotropism, and also the idea behind cell elongation and cell differentiation. So let's dive right in. Plant growth is being regulated by both external and internal factors. External factors regulating plant growth include temperature, water, nutrients, and others. The internal factors that regulate growth in plants are naturally occurring chemicals called hormones. Plant hormones are called phytohormones. Plant hormones such as auxin and gibberellin are growth regulators. Auxin was first discovered through the work of Darwin in 1881. It will interest you to know that the first naturally occurring auxin that was discovered is indole 3-acetic acid. Where is auxin being produced, and what is the nature of auxin? Auxins are water-soluble chemicals that are produced at the tip of the shoot and root. What are the functions or role of auxin in plant growth? Auxins promote growth through the following: by causing elongation of developing cells, stimulating the growth of cells in the shoot but inhibiting the growth of cells in the root. Auxin is also active in phototropism and geotropism. Auxin is active in leaves, fruits, and germinating seeds. Also, auxin causes apical dominance by the concentration of auxins at the tips of the root, shoot, and stem. It causes apical dominance. It induces flowering. It also breaks dormancy in seeds. It prevents lateral growth due to the concentration of auxin at the tip. It also induces root formation. Let's take a look at gibberellin. Gibberellin contains gibberellic acid, and it is being synthesized in the young leaves, roots, and seeds. What are the roles of gibberellin in controlling growth? 1. It promotes cell growth. It is involved in the promotion of fruit development and seed germination. A high concentration of gibberellin causes rapid elongation of stem, a process called bolting. It also stimulates stem elongation. There are, however, natural applications of auxins and gibberellin. This we will discuss under the topic plant hormones. Another very important growth regulator we will discuss is cytokinase. Cytokinase are produced in the roots, embryos, and fruits that are actively undergoing growth. Role of cytokinase. It concerns the major role of cytokinase is to control cell division. It also stimulates the development of the roots. It also acts to break dormancy of buds, leading to bud growth. It stimulates mitosis in meristems and in embryos during germination. It also promotes auxiliary bud growth in plants. Another important growth regulator is abscisic acid. Abscisic acid is found almost in every part of the plant. The functions include: it slows down growth, it promotes germination only when the environment is suitable. It prevents germination of seeds. It induces and maintains dormancy of seeds. It helps seeds to cope with high hatch conditions such as drought and high temperature. It controls the stomata opening and closing during drought. There are, however, other very important growth regulators. These include ethylene, polyamine, salicylic acid, nitric oxide, and so on. All these hormones put together help to regulate growth in plants. Now let's talk about growth curvatures. We already know in our previous lessons that plants also move. However, plants move in a fixed position. But have you wondered what kind of movement plants undergo? Plants undergo directional growth movements, referred to as tropism. This movement in plants aid them in acquiring food, water, light, and nutrients. So, what do we call tropism? Tropism refers to the ability of plants to respond to stimulus by turning from one direction to another. It is attained by a unidirectional active growth movement. Now, tropism could be positive or negative. If the growth movement is towards the stimulus, it is called positive tropism. However, if it is away from the stimulus, it is called negative tropism. Let's look at types of tropic movement or tropism. Tropic growth movements are named according to the kind of stimulus that triggers them. They include phototropism, which is the growth in response to light; geotropism, which is the growth in response to gravity; hydrotropism, which is the growth response to water. Thigmotropism is another type of movement. However, it is not a growth movement. Thigmotropism is a movement in response to touch. Let us examine phototropism. Phototropism is a growth movement of plants to a source of unidirectional light. In phototropism, the shoot of plants simply grows towards the source of light. I would like you to perform this simple experiment at home. Plant some bean seedlings in a basin of soil and place it beside a window in your room. When the germination of this seedling starts, watch the direction of the shoot of the plant. You will notice that the shoot will grow towards the source of light from the window. This movement of the plant shoot towards the light is called positive phototropism. Now let's look at hydrotropism. Hydrotropism is the growth movement of plants towards the source of water. A perfect example of hydrotropism is the growth of the roots of plants down into the soil towards the water. This is called positive hydrotropism. Since the shoot grows away from the source of water, the growth of the shoot away from the source of water will be termed as negative hydrotropism. Let us examine geotropism. Geotropism is the unidirectional growth movement of plant parts to the stimulus of gravity. We all know that there is a force of gravity acting from the atmosphere on every living thing on earth. Plant parts respond to this stimulus by growing either away or towards the force of gravity. Now, since the force of gravity is acting downward, meaning to push objects downward, the roots of plants are exhibiting positive geotropism. However, the shoots of plants are exhibiting negative geotropism, since they are growing in opposite direction to the direction of the force of gravity. I did mention earlier that auxin play an important role in regulating phototropism, which is the growth response to light direction. Here is how auxin regulates this process. When light hits one side of a plant, auxin is redistributed from the light exposed side to the shaded side of the plant. This promotes cell elongation in the shaded plant more than the light exposed area, since the concentration of auxin is higher in the shaded part. As a result of this differential cell elongation, the shaded side grows faster than the light exposed side. This uneven growth causes the plant to bend towards the source of light. Auxin also affects geotropism. Stimulus of gravity pushes the concentration of auxin towards the down part of the shoot. This causes the cells at the down part to elongate faster than the cells at the upper part. The cells at the down part then curve upward away from the gravity, thereby exhibiting negative geotropism. Lastly, in this lesson, let's look at the region of cell division, cell elongation, and cell maturation in plants with respect to the roots. So here we have the region of cell division is at the meristem, at the tip of the root, while the region of cell elongation are on the lateral side close to the down part of the root, and also the region of maturation is at the lateral side at the upper part of the root. Now let's look at a summary of what we have learned so far. In this lesson, we have learned that plants move in a fixed position and the movement is a growth movement. Plant undergoes unidirectional growth movement referred to as tropism. Tropism could be positive if the growth is towards the stimulus, or negative if the growth is away from the stimulus. The type of tropism include phototropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, and tignism, which are plant growth movement to light, gravity, water, and touch respectively. Plant growth is regulated by both internal and external factors. Internal factors regulating growth are naturally occurring chemicals called phytohormones. Growth regulators in plants include auxin, gibberellin, cytokinase, abscisic acid, and others. Auxin is known to control tropism and geotropism by redistributing auxin concentration in the plant, making the parts which have the highest concentration to grow either away or towards the source of stimulus. Now let's find out how much we have learned by answering the questions from the past WAEC. The first question we'll look at is question 16 from 1997, and it says, a high concentration of auxin in the root will A. Inhibit growth, B. Stimulate growth, C. Not affect growth, and D. Reduce water absorption. Think about the answer. The correct option is option A, inhibit growth. While auxin promotes cell elongation in the shoot, its effect on the root is different. In the root, a high concentration of auxin inhibits cell elongation and growth, which leads to the suppression of root elongation. It even causes root curvatures away from the source of auxin. Next question, question 6 from 2008. Primary growth in plant is brought about by the activity of the A. Epidermis, B. Endodermis, C. meristem, and D. mesophyll? The correct option is option C. meristem. Active cell division of the meristematic cells located at the tip of the shoot and root of plants brings about primary growth. Option B, which is endodermis, is wrong because the activity of the endodermis regulates water uptake, nutrient absorption, and root pressure maintenance. Option A, which is epidermis, is wrong because epidermal cells of plants contain old and dead cells that are not growing. Option D, mesophyll, is wrong because it is not involved in growth. It contains elongated cells containing many chloroplasts for the purpose of photosynthesis. Next question is question 16 from 2008. Plant hormone include the following except A. auxin, B. insulin, C. cytokinase, and D. gibberellin. What do you think is the answer? The correct option is option B. insulin. Insulin is not a plant hormone, rather it is an animal hormone produced in the pancreas gland, and it regulates blood sugar. Other options including auxin, cytokinin, and gibberellin are growth promoters in plants. The next question is question 10 from 2009. And it says, the curvature movement of plant in response to the stimulus of water is called A. hydrotropism, B. geotropism, C. phototropism, and D. thigmotropism. The correct option is option A. hydrotropism. Hydrotropism is the curvature movement of plants to stimulus of water. Other options are wrong. For example, geotropism is the curvature movement of plants in response to gravity. C is also wrong. Phototropism is the curvature movement of plants in response to light direction. D. thigmotropism is also wrong because it is the curvature movement of plants in response to the stimulus of touch. The next question is from question 16, 2015. A farmer who wants to keep seeds for 3 years before planting and want to prevent them from sprouting out will use A. auxin, B. gibberellin, C. abscisic acid, and D. cytokinase. The correct one is C. abscisic acid. Now the farmer will use abscisic acid because abscisic acid is known to induce and maintain dormancy in seeds. It also inhibits germination. Abscisic acid also helps to withstand various stress like drought and cold during the storage period. So the farmer will use abscisic acid to prevent the plant or the seeds rather from sprouting during the period of storage. All other options, auxin, gibberellin, and cytokinase, are growth promoters. If they are used on the seed, will end up germinating. That will be all for this second part of growth in living cells. In our next lesson, we will look at primary and secondary growth. We will look at cell elongation and cell differentiation in details. Till I come your way in the next lesson, keep on reading and studying your WAEC past questions. I remain your virtual biology tutor, Mr. Kehinde Adesina.